Hello, America. Welcome to Mad Military Man's Military Game Board of Review. Well, our first victim is World War II Aces for the Nintendo Wii. Now, I gotta say, this is one of my personal favorites. Yeah, it's got some bad points, and we'll talk about that later, but overall, in my opinion, it's one of my gems. So, first, we're going to talk about the game itself, its features. Well, this game has a lot of modes. You know, it has the campaign mode for three factions, of course. It has fly and die mode, like co-op player, and also competitive. I enjoy those, but my favorite above all is the campaign mode, where it actually has real battles of World War II, real air battles and real campaign battles that were actually in World War II. And believe it or not, it's actually quite accurate to the history, and it's all the factions actually have games. All the factions actually have levels and stages that they actually won. So it's not like, all right, the Germans are gonna win the Battle of the Bulge. No, the British actually win the Battle of the Bulge because that's in their faction, you know. And it's actually very, very, very accurate to history. But anyway, we're also going to talk about their skins. A lot of these planes, each I think they have like about four planes. Each faction has four planes, and they have two skins. And the skins are actually kind of finicky because you have to have a scoring system with it. Like you have to unlock the skins, but that's okay too. And what I really like about this game is the skins are used in certain areas, and it actually works with camouflage. Like, not so much about the British because the British only have the silver and the gray and the tan. The tan actually works when you're in the desert stages because it acts as good camouflage. The planes don't actually see you as often, so it's good. Also, I wanted to talk about the controls and the physics of the game. See, the controls of this game are BEAUTI full, okay? I'm talking delicious. Now, the physics, totally controllable. I mean, I have never played a pilot's game that was easier to control than this, okay? And I've played a few of them, but this is why World War II Aces gets my top pick. It really does. I mean, I really can't say anything more about it. Now, a lot of people, what they don't realize is some of these games have limits. The game features on this is a little finicky and glitchy. Now, I don't know if it's just my version of the game, but I've noticed, particularly when you have to fly, you can't just fly anywhere. You actually have a perimeter. And this perimeter is used as a containment area, and should you leave it, it'll warn you, and it'll give you the arrow on where you can return to the battlefield, but if you don't and it hits zero, you lose. Now, I don't like that because, let's face it, sometimes in the levels, you'll see the enemies, which are clearly marked as you'll see by red arrows, and if you kind of approach those enemies and they're outside the battle zone, you don't get to fight them. It's like they place the enemies outside the battle area and you really can't fight them. Now, also, I noticed about this, you have medals in this game. The medals are used for your points. Now, there's three difficulties. There's easy, normal, and hard. Easy, if you beat a level on easy, you might not even get a medal, but you'll probably get a bronze, right? Now, normal, you'll get either bronze or silver, and sometimes you can get gold. But if you beat a level on hard, you're definitely, or most likely, getting a gold medal. Now, these medals are worth different amounts of points. Now, a bronze medal you can only obtain if you have a certain amount of points. Now, in this case, a bronze medal is worth 500 points. Its value of the medal is 500 points, but to get a bronze medal, you have to score a 4,000 on your mission. Now, to get silver, you need 5,000, and that's worth 750. But to get the gold, you need 7,500 points. Now, 7,500 points can be very, very hard to come by. Sometimes these levels in this game really screw with you. I mean, I've actually had a level where it actually went to 7,482 points. And no matter how hard you try, you just won't get the 7,500. Now also, there's something very interesting about this. You see this little bar that keeps raising over here? That is actually a heat meter. Now, that happens when you fire your weapons. It takes, every plane actually has an overload time. Like the bombers, for 5 seconds of continuous fire, it overheats, you know. But other planes, it's a lot slower because they're built for that. Also, you have a damage meter, which you'll see on the screen right here. If you take a certain amount of hits, the damage meter will go down. And if it hits red, you know, you're done. Then we have our alternate weapons. Now here you'll see the missiles, and the icon below it is the bombs. Only the special project planes, the jet fighters in this game, have missiles. But every other plane has bombs. Now, pros and cons. Now, for the cons, we're going to have, you know, our usual shit sandwich, but we'll start off with the cons first. A big con with me is the leaving the battlefield. I'm sorry, it's just I could be considered a 100%er, you know, and, you know, I just don't like the fact that you can glitch the game and you can't reach the enemies out of the battlefield. Then we have mission difficulty. That is very, very, very annoying, because sometimes you can be at the second level, and even on the easy setting, for instance in Britain, the Battle of Dunkirk, that's like the third level, and it is balls hard. I mean, the Germans just gang bang your ass. I mean, they come out of nowhere. There's like 1,000 Luftwaffe officers trying to shoot you out of the sky. The skies are saturated with them, and you really can't beat that level until you actually, well, you can't 100% that level and get a gold medal until you get the jet fighter, you know, later in the game. Now, another one is the point system. Again, in order to unlock all these cool planes, like the one you see right on the screen right now, the Golfa 229, my favorite, you have to play the game in hard mode. The best way to do it is to get it in hard mode. And you have to get a gold medal in hard mode and unlock all these planes. Now, the point system is very, very spaced out. You have to, like, you can unlock the skins and the dive bombers and the fighter bombers, like, immediately. But after you do that, you'll have such a long way to go before you unlock the special project plane. And that's a really, really annoying feature, I think it is. But, you know, it's, you know, you gotta balance it out. Now, the one thing is, I gotta tell you, there's pros in this thing too. The pros, I would have to say, are, one, the smooth action. I love the action in this game. The maneuverability is smooth, you know, it's not like, oh, you make the control stick move slightly to the left and it goes, like, out of the left field, forgive the pun. But, no, the smooths are really, really good. And also, graphics. The graphics I just happen to love. The graphics are superb for a Wii game, you gotta admit. The texture could use a little working on, but for the most part, what do you want? I mean, this is not, you know, the U.S. Air Force's flight simulator. I mean, it's a Wii game, and you can see like the explosions and everything from firing the missiles. That's pretty good. I mean, that's something to say for a Wii, and I'm a Wii U fan, you know, with the big graphics and the big guns and shit. But this is one of my crown jewels. Now, also, there's numerous profiles in this game, and there's like 7 of them actually. There's 7 to be exact. Now, what I like about that is I can play this game a million times over and never get tired of it. And what I like about the profiles is if I want to start a game over without erasing my previous data, I can just start a new profile and I can start all over from the beginning. It's not, and I'll already know the levels, so maybe the levels will be a little bit easier, but I just love the fact that there's more profiles because I don't have to erase my data and I don't have to be stuck playing the same game with all the special project planes, because let's face it, in this game the special project planes are broken as hell. I mean, if you have super features that you unlock, you get super features too that you can unlock, like unlimited rockets and everything. If you can do that, then the game's a cakewalk, and you'll get bored with it. But I like the fact that you can keep up the challenges, and maybe you can get better just using the dumb planes, like the basic fighters. Another thing to say about this game is its military accuracy. Now, I gotta tell you, these missions are very key to history. I mean, all of the missions for all factions, both Britain, Soviet Union, and Germany, have a tie into the actual World War II battles. All factions have battles that they've won, so it's historically accurate. The planes are very, very accurate in their physics. Like the Spitfire and the Messerschmitt 109 and the Lavochkin 5. Those were real British, German, and Russian planes in World War II. You have the bombers and everything. Uh, I just really think that this game hit it on the money. And speaking of the arsenals, I wanted to touch up on the actual fighters themselves, down to the nitty gritty. The British faction, you have a fighter, a bomber, a fighter bomber, and a special project plane, as you do with the Russians and the Germans. Now, the fighter is the basic fighter. It's the Spitfire, obviously. It's the most famous British aircraft. Then they have the bombers, which nobody uses because they're slow, bulky. They have a lot of armor, but they can't really fight in a dogfight. The British have the Avro Lancaster. But then you can unlock the Mosquito, which is the fighter bomber. It's a little bit more maneuverable. And then you unlock the Gloucester Meteor, the second jet fighter to be produced in World War II. Then the Germans, obviously, you have the Messerschmitt 109, the most beautiful plane in the world. Then you have the Heinkel 111, the best bomber. Then you have the Ju-87 Stuka dive bomber, the most famous dive bomber of World War II. And of course, you have the special project plane, the Gotha 229, or also known as the Horton. I also think, just my own opinion, they should have put the 262 as the special project plane, but hey, whatever. Then you have the Russian planes, the Lavochkin 5, the worst plane in the game, just my opinion. It's too maneuverable, it's too weak. The weapon system on the Lavochkin 5 takes a really long time to kill the plane. Then you have the D-3 bomber, and then the Aleutian, which is the fighter bomber. And you have the Biznavat 5, which is the special project plane. If you're going to play in the Russian mode, I suggest you unlock the Biznavat 5 as soon as possible because all the other planes are crap. The best faction in this game, I think, is the German because it has the best planes. I always enjoy playing in the Luftwaffe faction because their planes are much better than the British and the Russians in this game. The Horton 229 is my favorite. But anyway, let's wrap it up. Well, overall, this game meets Mad Military Man's approval, and we're out of time. Mad Military Man, reporting out.